broadcasting. We are now live on Facebook. Yay! It takes a while for me to see. Hello, guys. Come on in. Let us know where you're from. What are you doing? I have a friend with me today. We're going to have some fun. So come on in. Let us know. What are you doing? Where are you in the world? I'm just pulling you up on my thing so I can actually see all of your lovely little comments. So this is where I have to open this
Hello,
up.
guys.
Oh, God, I don't like listening to myself, but there we go. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing people coming in. Hello, everyone. Coming in, let us know where you're from. What are you doing on this? For me, it's a gloomy Tuesday. What's it like? Where are you, Melissa?
I'm in Flagstaff, Arizona. So it's cold.
So
but
is it cold?
Yeah, it's a little cold.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hi, Annette. Thank you so much for the stars. Thank you. Oh, look, they all come. Oh, hey, Carol. Yes, I did got your text. We were chatting. Hi, Kylie. Hi, Annette. Hi, Pia. Hi, Colleen. Oh my God, all of these stuff. So yes, please remember, if you find somebody on here, Carol is monitoring. Good old Carol. She is monitoring. But if somebody asks you for a reading, to private message them, to go to a Facebook page, to become a new friend, to become, I don't know, their sugar mama or sugar papa, please don't. All right, listen, let's just get rid of them, block them, report them, all of that stuff, because I don't want you guys scammed on my page. So anyway, thank you so much. Oh, yay, nice to see us. Thank you, Marsha. It's nice to see you. So I'm here. All right, so let me introduce you to this lovely lady, Melissa Corter. Not Corter. I always put an N in it. It's Corter. I know you. Sorry, I've lost my shoe. I know you as a photographer. Mm-hmm. This is what I know you for at Celebrate Your Life. And now here you are talking about the new moon and how it can help us and all of these things. Listen, your photography is phenomenal. You make me look amazing. Oh, but this is another side of you that I don't think many people have seen.
That's true.
So how did you get into it?
You know, it's kind of crazy. It's been there all along, but I was someone that hid. I didn't feel safe to be in the spotlight or let people see or hear about the quirky, weird stuff that I do. So I had a camera in front of me and it just created that little bit of safety and protection until I felt comfortable to come out and share my authentic side.
You came out into the real world and here you are on Facebook in front of potentially thousands. All right. And it's kind of a crazy thing, really, if we think about it. It's like, oh my gosh. And so you're not, let's get things straight. We're going to be talking about the new moon, but you are not an astrologer, correct?
Not at all.
Oh,
I've learned to connect with the moon and create this understanding of its influence in my life as a sensitive or an empath, but not necessarily knowing all the strategic, the logical linear information.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So the astrology side, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a load of astrologers out there that I love, but when they start talking, this house is in this place, and I'm like, it's like my brain just goes, wah! And I just I have no idea. So, okay, I'm glad about that. But how did you get into this? I mean, this is something you've been interested in. We were talking earlier that you started doing this at a very young age. Tell me how you got into it.
Absolutely. So at a young age, I only felt at peace and at home in nature, in the woods, among the trees, the rocks, all of that good stuff. And so I didn't know I was sensitive. I didn't know I was an empath. I didn't know what any of that meant. I just knew I was very intuitive and connected to things I couldn't see or understand. Yeah. And at night, I would sit outside my window, and I was like 5 or 6 years old, but I would push the screen out of my window so it would pop out, and I'd lean in the window and I always get in trouble for it, but I did it anyway. And I would just stare at the moon and the light. And there was something about the darkness and the stillness. And that time at night, I just felt this connection and I couldn't put it into words, but I felt like I was telling stories to the moon and had this interesting connection with it, almost like it was like the sweet grandmother or something. It's kind of silly to say it out loud, but that's what really got me curious as I got older to figure out what is that relationship.
You know, this is really interesting because let's face facts. Everybody looks at the moon. And I don't care who you are, guys. I don't care who you are. You are lying if you say to me, I don't look at the moon. The only reason why you don't look at the moon is because there's a cloud in front of it. Everybody looks at this. Everybody will say, oh, it's a new moon. Oh, look at the moon. Oh, look at this. It's something that is guaranteed. It's going to come out every single day or every single night. And we all will refer to it. But when you refer to the new moon, are you referring to the big full moon, or are you referring to the little tiny moon? What are you referring to when we talk about the new? I'm literally going at it at layman's terms because I have no idea. So this is fascinating.
Absolutely. And I love this too, because most of us are more aware when we have that vibrant full moon. And that's when you have the moon in its fullest, ripest potential. That's where we see the light from it. But the actual new moon, you don't see. So that's when it's just darkness. And it has to do with positioning and the sun and all these different, the technical parts of all of it that have to do with the visibility and what we see. But what we can do is tune into how we feel during that time. So it's a time for planting seeds, creating intentions, goal setting, and getting really clear on what you want to create. This new moon's really powerful because here we are in 2021. So it's the first new moon of the new year. So that in itself makes it a little bit more exciting and sort of like a clean, fresh slate, if you think of it that way. The full moon is 2 weeks later. That's when we see it physically, but we also think of that as the manifestation of what we're creating right now. So the new moon is plant the seed. 2 weeks later, the full moon is here it is. We get to receive it.
So it's so fascinating because I'm into all of this. I'm the person that on the full moon will go and literally gather all my crystals, put them outside, do all of that thing. I'll dance around. I won't quite dance around naked, but I'll kind of dance around and do the whole salt thing. I get my crystals out. I'm basking in there. My husband thinks I'm absolutely crazy, but I really am anyway. But so those of you who do all of that, you're normal in my standards. But this new moon, okay, we're coming into a new moon, and you said this is time to plant seeds, how we can really create abundance, prosperity, really start moving through. Because we look at January, and I don't want to get political, I don't want to get COVID-y, or I don't want to get any of that. But if we look at January, I'm going to say this, guys, and I'm sorry if anyone hears it and they don't like it. 2020 was pretty shit. All right. I don't ever say that on Facebook, but it was pretty crappy. There were some elements that were amazing, but there were some elements that were really, really bad. So moving into a new year, a new moon, it sounds to me like it's a huge, powerful thing. Is that right?
Yes. Think of it as a reset, a time to kind of lose your identity a little bit too, in a good way, where if there's things about your personality or things about your habits, your behaviors. My background's also in like psychology and energy medicine. And if you take the things that are consistent in your life that are showing up because of behavior and action, think of the new moon as a time to kind of look at all of that and decide what's been working and what's not working. So you can let go of the old and step into the new energy. But the beautiful thing about this is you don't need to know how. You don't have to figure it out. If you trust yourself, if you listen and follow that, whatever that impulse is, some of us feel it, some of us see it, some of us sense it. But if you listen to that, you'll be called into your next steps. The moon in all of its phases tends to affect our subconscious mind. So that's like the hidden part of ourselves. And so a new moon is to allow yourself to go really deep into that hidden part to see what dreams might be there that maybe you haven't nurtured or watered or given attention to, and to focus on them now.
That's interesting. Okay, so guys, listen. All right, you have all got somebody, you've all got someone who this can relate to. You need to tag that now. All right, tag them, share them. This stuff is so interesting. So let me ask you, okay, Melissa, I had this thing. All right, I always do a manifestation list every single year. And on my daughter's birthday, she turned 18. All right, and it was this, not that I was manifesting her out of the house, although that almost happened over the weekend, and it wasn't through choice. But the manifestation I did on my daughter's birthday, because it's very much at the beginning of the year. And what I always do is, because I felt, you know, it was a powerful time, but it's so close to this new year. So let me ask you this. Do you feel doing your manifestation lists and things like that, and then maybe putting them out tonight, I don't know, in little cover, putting them out to allow the new moon to sort of generate the energy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it is, think of it as support, like new support, you know, so we can manifest any time of year, any day of the month. We can create, we can be conscious and think things through and feel it in our bodies and all that good stuff. But if we allow this support to help us, we might have dreams uncovered we didn't think about. We might have connections show up that maybe we didn't realize were there. So it's kind of like revealing some of the hidden support while you do those manifestations too.
Okay, so let's go back to basics, all right? Because a lot of these guys on here, listen, you guys are all talking new moons. It's a great thing. Me, I'm a little simple girl. Simple needs. I just speak to dead people. I don't just. But let's go back. What are some rituals? What are some techniques that we can do? So first of all, let me go back one more. When is the new moon? There's a little conflict right now, isn't there? Whether it's now or
it's going to depend on where you're located on the planet. And so for most of us, so I'm on the West Coast. I believe it is around 9 or 10 p.m. this evening for us here. We're in Mountain and Pacific time, depending, because we're Arizona. We're the weirdos that don't change time. And then,
okay. I'll be one of those weirdos soon. You know,
it's so bizarre. So yeah, I'm always trying to calculate. For the East Coast, it'll be way late evening hours. So whatever that time difference is, 2-3 hours. So it might be closer to 1 a.m. or midnight around that time. The thing that I think about, because I'm not technical with a lot of this too, but I do trust how I feel. And then some of the things I've learned about it is that you can start to notice the impact even a few days before. So we're already kind of feeling it. And so even if you're not looking exactly at that time, or if you're asleep and you want to kind of plan to do something with it, you're still in the energy of it. It's still going to be supporting you today, tomorrow, even a couple days after.
Is that why we've all felt a little bit wonky? Because I will tell you, there's been a lot of wonky madness happening in my house,
yes.
Especially with an 18-year-old daughter. So, you know, do you, and Annette, I know you have to run, but thank you so much for all of those stars, my dear. Anyway, so do you think that adds to the wonkiness that's in the house? You know, when we're like, oh my God, why is this happening? I can't,
yes.
We're not quite gelling.
Absolutely. There's a couple perspectives I could share on that. It can totally be wonky. Full moons tend to be amplifying that energy a little bit more. But think of it this way, you know, a lot of times when we hear a new moon, we do think of new and goal setting and planning and dreams, and all of that is absolutely true. But there is a part of us also releasing the old to create space for that new. So in that in between, it can feel a little wonky. We might be at peace with the change, but maybe somebody around us isn't. Or we might be noticing new structures and foundations being built and different things. That's what this new moon happens to be in the sign of Capricorn, by the way, which is that stability and structure. And even though restructuring is good, we don't always respond well to it. For some of us, restructuring is looking at things that aren't serving to let them go. For others, it's restructuring is shifting and they don't want to let it go. So they're going to be resistant. So you could be possibly tuning into some of that.
I can understand that. I can understand that. Everyone's going on about the wonkiness that I'm actually talking about.
Yeah.
But it's very true. I mean, that's how it feels. It feels like it's so disjointed sometimes. And then there's times it works really well. So let's go back. How can we create this manifestation to manifest the life, the prosperity, the abundance that we want? Is it the fact that we have to be prepared to let go, judging from what you were saying, that we have to be prepared to let go of the past in order to move forward? And what rituals would you suggest?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a different process for everyone. I feel like some of us were excited about that process. And so the letting go, it comes with this sense of vibrancy and joy. Like, I can't wait to let go of 2020, you know, that kind of a thing. But for others, there is that uncertainty. And some of the things that that are helpful to know during this time is this is here for you. It's to support you. Bet on yourself. Imagine it all working out. Know that all of the things happening, whatever they might be, are here in service to you. And so if you think of it from that place, it can make it a little easier to let go, even if things are uncertain or unclear on where they're going and what's happening. The other thing too is recognize that, again, I'm not the astrologer, but from the energetic aspect of Capricorn being about stability, foundation, for a lot of us, that means security and safety. And so when these changes are happening, it's really about self-care. How can we feel safe and secure as that ground is shifting beneath us, even though we know it's leading to good things? We don't always feel that way in the moment. So if you think about Capricorn also, one of the things that's helpful to think of is alignment. So instead of restructuring or the shifting ground or some of these things that feel very intense or overwhelming, think of it as alignment happening for you. And rituals, I like to use the body, the breath, the beliefs, different things like that. I believe that rituals are, if we take magic out of a ritual, it's just a chore. So really any kind of a ritual is something that you put your intention and your magic into. So it can be lighting, I have one right here, lighting a candle. It can be setting your intention. It can be like putting your crystals out to be outside. It can be anything that you feel connected to. But if you have the undercurrents, like an intention of expanding, opening to receive that abundance, being in alignment with that abundance, you will naturally gravitate towards it without having to figure out how. So the rituals just kind of put you in the energy of it. So I have thousands of them, but I would say what feels simple, what feels good. Journaling works for a lot of people, then burning after, a hot bath where you're just really intentional about relaxing, surrendering, letting go, opening to receive. There's so many rituals that you can do. It's really a matter of what do you feel you need, what can support you, and what is going to help that alignment so that you can soften the resistance and open to, once again, that belief of it's all going to work out. It's going to work for me. I'm going to trust that everything is aligning for my highest good and in my best interest versus what if it doesn't work? What's going to happen? That's all the old stuff. The new way is I'm going to bet on myself and I'm going to let this time support me. And what tools, practices, rituals help me to feel alignment and remember my power?
That's powerful. You know, a lot of people will look at rituals or intentions or all of this stuff as being really weird. You know, my husband, pretty much a badass army guy. Really, in fact, you probably met him. He's
Yeah,
just
my husband's badass army guy too.
just whatever. This is it. And he looks at me like I am absolutely cuckoo crazy. And he'll often tell me I am absolutely crazy. But I do these things. And I put a lot of energy into them. Even before I go to bed, every single night, I say I have gratitude. And even if I'm like I am right now, sleeping alone, it's like I will always say, you know, thank you to him, thank you to this, you know, and I always have this heart center, and I open the heart center and I say, okay, give to me what is in my divine order, what is in my best interest. And there's a lot of times what I've seen, I guess, from the work I've done, is people control. We want to control everything. We're on this path. Oh my God, control, control, control. Yet, when we truly, truly sit in that space of soul, our inner knowing knows that it's all going to be okay. We're going to be okay. But in that moment, that head space, and I spoke about this yesterday in a message, our head will sometimes really control that heart, and then the heart really needs to control the head. But we get into that element of control, and surrendering is so difficult for someone to do.
Yeah.
So what you're saying here right now, and what I'm hearing, is this new moon is a time to really surrender and release and let go.
Absolutely. And while you're doing that,
people.
Yeah, while you're doing that, just planting those little seeds of what you want within that. I can let this go and I can consciously create. I can let this go. And it's sort of like a balance between it's funny, I had a hit yesterday. My spirit, the way it just came through was effortless engagement. So instead of hard work, which
Yeah.
is funny because Capricorn is about working hard and stability. And I had this hit and it was like, well, what if we took the idea of showing up, of being engaged and giving effort to something, but what if it was through surrender and trust and enjoyment and, excitement versus action oriented, very, mental energy, detailed control. I have to do this. I got to be the one to figure it out. What if it was like, I get to be engaged with this because it's important to me, this dream, this desire, whatever it is. And can this be effortless? Can it be easier? Can I let this in without all the mental stuff, the way that I maybe used to do things, or with the belief that it's going to take a lot of work? I think that we mix up hard work with effort and engagement. I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to goals, when we think about a new moon and goal setting and planning, some of us think like, okay, I got to get to work now. It's like, well, wait a minute. What if part of the work was alignment, which is part of that energy we're talking about? What if that were my work? What if that hot bath freed up my mind for 30 minutes, put me into the vibrational state of receptivity that I really want to be in, versus me sitting at my desk, stressed out, yelling at my kids, whatever it is, because I'm efforting and thinking this has to be hard.
Yeah.
And that which one feels better? And I think that's what we can learn from these new moons also, is what feels good. And if you're not a feeler, what seems like alignment, or what do you want to see as your practice for things being a little bit more effortless but engaged?
And also, we have to use our senses. So not everybody is in that sensory way of a feeling. So maybe it's the fact that they may look at the vision board that they may have created on the first day of the month, and putting it out with them, or that they're constantly repeating an affirmation and hearing it themselves. So you're taking your own personal way of taking on board, with your own senses, what is right for you, and you're actually going to utilize it. And it doesn't take long. Like you said, it's 30 minutes. Right. Guys, you waste 30 minutes on Facebook watching me, okay? So get yourself doing this stuff, because, we talk about empaths, and as empaths and as psychics and mediums, sometimes we give so much to everybody else that we don't actually take in ourselves. Do you find that to be true? And why do we tend to block all of this energy?
Absolutely. There's so many reasons. That's one of the biggest things I work with every day when I work in my practice with people, is blocking that energy. They think it's something they have to go get, but actually it's the receptivity of it. And there's different reasons for a lot of us. For some of us, it is that we have learned that with receiving comes control or manipulation. For some of us, we've learned that receiving isn't safe for whatever other reason. For some of us, we have just learned that we receive when we're given permission, or somebody else steps in with an authority kind of a thing. So there's a lot of dynamics with it. And I think it's finding out whatever your relationship is first to receptivity. And that might be finances, prosperity, abundance. It might just be energy. Some of us go right into overwhelm. So if we're already like overly stimulated with our environments and these different experiences we're living, we might unconsciously block or shut down because we're already in a state of overwhelm. So it's kind of like telling the universe, wait a minute, don't give me any more, because I don't know what to do with what you're already giving me. And then at the same time in our minds, we're like, why isn't this happening? Why am I just not, it's just not coming to fruition. So there's a lot of reasons we block. And the beautiful thing is, you might not know what it is for you personally, but if you really lean on, like you said, that instinct, however you sense or perceive that, and really start to look for the things that bubble up, look at your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs around it. It's all guidance. It will show you what's going on. It'll show you the block. It'll show you the obstacle. I really believe if we pay attention to the breath, we can see how we hold, when we think about money or bills or whatever, or listen to the body, and I use money a lot as an example because I teach about it. And, you get that bill in the mail and you just weren't expecting it. How does your body respond? Freeze up.
Oh yeah, I don't like that stressed out feeling. I'm like, Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why I've
So it's
always got
it's
yoga
int-
mat there.
yeah, it's just sensory information. And if we take all of that, instead of stressing out over it, it's like, I wonder what this is teaching me. What
Mhm.
is this an opportunity for me to see or connect to? It can really help it kind of become more of a portal versus like a burden.
Yeah, it really can. So listen, guys, I want to ask you right now, those on Facebook, okay, what is it? And you may feel comfortable, you may not feel comfortable in doing this. And there is a lag between this, so I might not be able to see all of you. What is it that you guys are going to start manifesting, creating today? What is it? Let's start looking at it, okay? And let's change the mindset, because a lot of people will say, I want to let go of tension. So I always say, let's reframe that. How do I create peace and ease in my life? And do you agree that you have to create that? You have to actually set that intention and turn it.
Yes, absolutely. Because otherwise you might not think about it and we just sort of go into default behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, creating a new thought or having some kind of stimulus. It might be something like a vision board or something like you mentioned, to see it, to prompt us to think differently. So if we don't create that in our lives, we just kind of default into autopilot and then get the same results from that place.
That's right. So those of you, I'm seeing you all put on there, success, creative opportunities, new partnership. So now it's about creating, and putting it up there. So here's what I have done. All right. I'm going to share it with you. Okay. I can't believe I'm actually going to share this stuff with you. Oh gosh, here we go. Oh my gosh. I've just pulled it down off my wall. All right, guys, I have 4 of these, and this is my personal, and it's like what I'm saying yes to. And so when I'm saying yes, and I actually will say, okay, and as I'm writing it down, I will literally write all of these things down. And some of them are like really crazy stuff,
Those are the best.
like I don't actually know what I've put on here. Maybe there isn't something crazy. Oh yeah, it's I've done some crazy stuff. And one of them, ready for this, Melissa, is buying a house in Arizona.
I have a real estate agent I can recommend.
Okay, great, perfect. Tucson's where I'm looking. Anyway, so I actually, as I write this down, I'm like, I am saying yes to this. I am saying yes to that. So I can guarantee you guys, if any of you are around Lilydale tonight, probably stay in your house, because I'll probably be standing out there naked with the new moon going, I'm saying yes to that. No, I won't be naked. Trust me, it's far too cold. But that's how that feels right for me. Now, it may not be right for everybody, so they've got to find their own alignment. I'm just trying to give you some ideas how it's going to work for me. But, do you think that that's what people have to do? They have to find their own way.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it. There isn't really just one way. One of my favorites too, this might be helpful, is journaling. And one of the things, so I think about the new moon, and if you want to take it another step and think about that Capricorn energy, that's kind of the influence of the new moon, and you think of that security and stability. The other thing is Capricorn tends to influence work and career. So if you want to take those things into consideration and journal about it, one of my favorite things to do is journal as if it's here. What would it feel like for me to have this? And I write about it. I've manifested some crazy things. I manifested a house in Sedona doing this practice, like all these crazy things. But really, I focused and I just put myself in the feeling state of that. And for those of you, like Lisa said, that aren't feelers, you might see it in your mind. You might sense it. It might be going for a walk and visually being in that place you want to go to, or whatever it is. But I journal as if it's happened, having that appreciation and gratitude at the same time. And I have questions, like little prompts I use. So I'll share one of the prompts here. If everything was destined to work in my favor, what would I do? Meaning, how would I think? How would I feel about this intention, this dream, this goal, whatever it is? How would I act? How would I really show up if I believed everything was going to work out in my favor? Now, another question you can add that's really helpful and insightful is, what would I no longer do? Meaning, is there something there that's not in alignment anymore? Can you bless it, send it on its way? Can you heal it, shift it, let go of it, whatever it is? And then the last thing is, can this be easy? Remember that whole engaged effort, it's effortless, but it's still engaged or present. How can this be easier? How can I let this in with joy and connection and presence versus hard work? So journaling is another great practice for those of us that are like, I don't even know what I want or what I'm feeling. And the longer you do it, the more time you spend in that, you start to connect to that subconscious part of you that might have some dreams and goals and intentions that you didn't even know were so deeply within you, because you might have even sort of had this thought when you were younger or earlier on, like, I can't do that, I can't achieve it, so I'm not even going to let myself know it exists. And I know some of us have done that, and it's pretty cool when we start to dig in and give yourself permission to tap into whatever that is, and new things come up, new desires and intentions.
So let me tell you, I actually did this. I actually manifested my husband exactly that way. I journaled, and I was in a real deep state. And I know some of you want to manifest in relationships. So I was in a real deep state. I mean, I was crazy. And I said, I really have got to journal on this. And I just bought myself an electronic journal. And because I'm an old-fashioned pen and paper girl. But as I was manifesting it, I kept thinking, okay, what is it that I wanted? And I don't know whether, and I know I did it over a course of a time. And I know I did it over the course of probably 2 to 3 weeks. So that would have taken probably quite a few moon cycle, those different cycles of the moon. And I remember looking at it and looking at this list of, I had a checkbox of over 40 points. Okay. All right. Seriously. And I looked at them and I remember thinking, holy crap, how the heck am I going to manifest this man? And so again, a ritual. It was very important for me to clear out the energy in my bedroom, create an empty drawer in my dresser. This was really hard, Melissa, you'll understand this. I created space in the closet. That was so hard for me to do. Do you know how hard my shoes had to be back, go into a different place? And we all know how Lisa Williams loves her shoes. But
that's dedication.
Oh my God, it was dedication. So I created this little, it was about that much room, but I created this room for him. And I actually put in boxer shorts, socks, a toothbrush, razor, shaving foam, sweatpants, and a t-shirt. Okay. And then I remember sitting there and I remember reading, okay, I am manifesting this, boom, 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 boom. And I did. And I started to visualize them in my head, although he really didn't turn out visually how I expected. But it was like, I visualized this man. So it was exactly what you're saying. I created this. I was like I was in it. And then I would create these scenarios. And it sounds really pathetic, right? But I would create these scenarios, especially to music. And I'd be like, oh, we're dancing here. By the way, he doesn't dance. Well, he does dance. He learned to dance. But we're doing this. And I'm not kidding you guys. 2 weeks later, I went on my first date with my husband. That actually wasn't supposed to be a date. Just went a little bit sideways. But the best thing was we got married. But it was interesting because and the only thing that didn't fit or didn't work was the bottoms and the t-shirt, because he's far too big for them. Obviously I was manifesting just a large and he is not quite just a large. But it was the boxer shorts, but they did. Actually, I don't actually know. I think they did. But it's interesting how we can create this. We can create this. I did it last year, Post-it notes everywhere. And at the first of the year, I took off all the things that I had manifested. And then I put them on my vision here. Now my visions are huge. But I think this is what I'm saying, guys. You really kind of have to do it. And now is the time. Don't you agree? Yeah. Now is the time.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And it's funny because one of the things I wrote down, I got a hit on earlier, is that there's so much growth and potential here for us. I mean, always, but especially with this kind of a new moon. and you need to be available to receive it. So that's huge for people, because I guarantee you, while you were doing all those things with the drawer and you were taking action. So even though there was the writing and the visuals and all the things you put in, that effort, you took steps beyond that, which is moving that energy. And I think a lot of us have some disconnect in that part. We don't necessarily take it to that next level. It's almost like your head kicks in and goes, oh, well, I'm just going to see it and sense it and feel it, but I'm not really going to prepare for it. You know what I mean? So I think that's so cool that you took those steps.
It's important, especially when it's relationships or work. When you're scared to step yourself in, you're scared to be vulnerable. I could talk with you for hours, but it's like we're scared to be vulnerable. We're scared to put our heart on the line. We're scared to come out into the world and go, hey, guess what? I'm a woo-woo person and I love it. You know, I'm a psychic medium. I'm a witch. I'm a massage therapist. I'm a healer, whatever it is. We're scared because of judgment. And when we've been hurt, we've been put down, we've got that cycle of judgment that is going on. We say, yeah, we want it. Yeah, this is what I want. But really, we're not allowing ourselves it. Same with relationships. We want it, but we're not allowing and embracing the fact that we deserve it. We're still living in that churn. Oh, there's my other one falling down. We're churning in our head about, yes, it's that yes, but. And we really have to step into that place of going, you know what, I'm worthy. I deserve it. And I can do it.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
Absolutely. I call it calibrating to the energy you want to create. So you're spending time in the things that represent whatever that manifestation is. You're thinking about it, you're writing about it, you're talking to people that maybe have accomplished what you've done or what you want to do. And you start to build this evidence for your subconscious to go, oh, maybe this is possible, because if I see 5 people outside of me that have done that, well, now something in me can say, I can't deny that. It's real on some level, even if it didn't happen to me yet. And so the more we immerse ourselves in those experiences energetically, emotionally, whatever your senses are, you start calibrating to that. And what was impossible becomes possible. And then next thing you know, you're creating new neural pathways in your brain to be able to see the world differently. You see with your brain, not even your eyes, and all the reflection, the things out here start matching up with that little seed that you planted during this crazy, weird new moon thing we're talking about. And it's magical and it's amazing.
That's awesome. So Carol, you literally were reading my brain. You must be psychic. I actually wanted to say, okay, so Melissa, tell us your website, but Carol has put it up there. Okay. But tell us, what services do you offer as a practitioner in this world?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'm an intuitive coach.
Tell yourself. Sell yourself.
I'm an intuitive coach and a certified hypnotherapist, an author, and a speaker. And basically what I do is I work primarily with women. I work with women and men, but mainly a lot of women are drawn to my work. And I help them to break through their emotional and financial glass ceilings. We do a little bit of EFT, which is called Emotional Freedom Technique, where we tap into what's going on, those stories and the things that are circulating throughout the subconscious and the nervous system. And then I also use hypnosis. So it's a twofold approach, because one of them is active, where you're engaged with your senses and working through it. And the other is passive, where you lean back and you receive. So there's a nice balance. And it's really helping people to want more, to recognize they can have more, and to start building the evidence that they can not only want it and see it happening around them, but then start to live it. And so one of the things that I tell my clients to do when they have these little wins and successes is to celebrate like a wild woman, like lose your mind over it, get crazy excited over these little achievements, because then your body starts to respond and go, oh, that's safe for me. I can do this. I can let more in, whether it's more connections, more money, more whatever. It's not all about money, but money is a beautiful mirror for us. And if we can really allow ourselves to open, like you're saying, let these desires in, then next thing you know, we're holding on to them. And then we're showing other people how to do it. And I feel like that's part of my mission too, is not only helping people achieve success, whatever that is for them, but realizing it's more than okay. We can talk about it. We can celebrate it, and everybody gets to win. There's not just some people that make it or don't make it. we all get to have what we want. That's part of our birthright. I really feel that deeply. So that's what I help people do.
Oh, yay. Okay, so listen, thank you guys for all of your stars, but seriously, go to Melissa's website. It is Melissa Corter. So it's MEILSSACERTER.CORTER.com.
Almost. There's a couple.
All right, so listen, I don't know whether I can pin it.
That's okay.
I can pin it to the top. There we go. I've pinned it to the top. You guys can upstairs, downstairs, wherever it is on your screen, it is there. So please, please, please go and check her out, okay? Because this stuff, I could sit and talk to you forever, Melissa, honestly. I really, really could. But thank you for joining us. Seriously.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I've got to just add, I always say this. What are your words of wisdom to people who are listening? What is it that you can just give to someone right now just to help them through the moment?
Oh my gosh, that's such a big thing. You know, if we could really, really get that there's nothing you need to do or prove to know that you're enough. You were born enough. You came here as enough. And the more you believe that and anchor into it, the more things that look and feel enough will show up in your world. It's really anchoring into that. You are enough and you matter. Thank you.
There you go, guys. You are enough. I'll see you dancing naked in the new moon later on tonight. No, I won't, because it's actually really cold out there. But let's all manifest. Let's create abundance. Let's create your dreams and make it happen. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow. I have there's going to be I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow, but I'll be letting you know about a new course that's coming up, some other stuff. So I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.